remaking a nation, redefining a political party is a big job. It's not something you can do by yourself. You can't just snap your fingers and fix all the things that are wrong in this country overnight. It requires not just the work of one person or 100 people. It requires a literal army of activists working within the Republican Party to change how that party thinks, to return it back to its principles and religional values, and then from there to change use the party to change the nation. To do that, all these great dedicated liberty people that are out there aren't enough. You need to have allies. You need to have friends. And they may not necessarily be people who agree with you exactly 100% on everything you believe in. But there are an awful lot of liberty activists out there who seem to think that the best way to pursue their goals is to drive a wedge between the liberty movement and mainstream Republicans who might potentially be extraordinary allies in bringing about a much freer nation with a much more limited government. And this problem is endemic in the liberty movement. Condemning anyone who doesn't agree 100% with a particular line of dogma is not a way to build a movement. It's a way to isolate yourselves from the larger realm of allies and people who can help you that exists out there. It's a terrible strategy, and it's one that we really need to get away from. I'll give you an example. I run into people in the liberty movement all the time who are calling mainstream Republicans neocons and condemning them as supporters of war and of coercion at every level in government within our own nation and outside of our nation. Well, you have to think from their point of view. You have to think about what got them to that point. Don't condemn them because they've gotten a bad idea, because they've been told the wrong things by other people. The actual neocons, the actual people who believe in war making and building an empire, are a tiny little group of think tank elitists who happen to have gotten the ear of a couple of presidents and had more influence than they really deserve. The average Republican out there isn't supporting war because he thinks war is a good thing. He doesn't believe in massacring people. He doesn't believe in using government to coerce people within or outside the nation. The average Republican out there has been told that we're in danger. He's been threatened. He's been made to fear the potential of foreign forces. He's been made to fear domestic terrorists. He's been made to fear for his own welfare and well-being and economic welfare within the nation if government doesn't help him out. He's a victim. He's not the perpetrator of these problems. And what you need to do is give them a little bit of a break. Give them some sympathy. Don't be arrogant. Don't condemn them. Go to them and tell them, you've been told these things, and maybe we can help you look at the world in a different way. And maybe there are ways to solve these problems that don't involve the use of military force, the use of hostility and coercion. And maybe you can get them to come around to understanding, as many of them have, when people have talked to them, in an honest, forthright way, trying to make friends and allies, that there are other ways to look at the world, and that we don't need to be afraid all the time. We don't need to believe the lies the media and fearmongers in government tell us. A lot of the things that they say to us are designed to advance their own political interests, to generate a sort of panic mentality in the mass of people. And when people are taken as individuals, they can break out of that mass mentality. They can think for themselves. They should be given a chance to do that. These are the people we need to be successful. They agree with us in principle on 90%, even more than 90% of what we believe in, and we shouldn't just write them off and drive them away and alienate them by calling them names or condemning them for the beliefs that they hold, when those beliefs may be founded on false premises that we can fairly easily break down and bring them around and get them on board and have them agreeing with us, becoming allies to help us do the thing that we both want, which is to make a freer, more peaceful, more free, less expansive, and less expensive United States government. Those things are worth fighting for, and those things are worth, not letting your first reaction dictate what you're going to do when dealing with these people who you run into at Republican meetings or political events or on the street or in your neighborhood. Give them a chance. Give them a chance to be allies. Don't immediately make them enemies. And you might be surprised at how much more progress we make in the liberty movement if you take that attitude that everyone you meet in the Republican Party is a potential ally, not an automatic enemy.